My name is Samantha Evans, and I am a Clary Sage College graduate. I moved to Tulsa with 3 of my children and everything that I owned in the back of my Suburban. I gave everything away. That was a really dumb idea, but I really just wanted a brand new, fresh start. As soon as I had the idea that I wanted to go back to school, because I was a 2-time college dropout, it seemed like everything that could have went wrong. And it went very wrong. It was like my life was quicksand, and I knowingly stepped right in the middle of it. But why? At this point, I really had to kind of change my way of thinking and perform my absolute best. Otherwise, my sanity would just get devoured, but on its own. I was broke. I was tired, and I had no reliable support. What I could do nails and I wasn't stupid. Financial hardship brought me to my knees, and it brought me so hard to my knees, it brought me all the way back to Enid to a couch. Shortly after I moved back, I lost my best friend to suicide. The only thing that stayed constant for me was my will and my drive and a desire to be a businesswoman, to be a better person and do something that I'm passionate about. And I needed to be successful. School was an escape for me. It was the only thing that really gave me hope. So my truck broke down, and that's a 4-hour round trip for those of you who don't know. So I had to really put my pride aside and ask for a lot of help because I needed it, and it was a lot to ask. Needless to say, things got worse. And so this turn of events led to a car accident, and I have a couple different, destroyed friendships and relationships with people because I had to put my career first. Not everybody that's around you wants to see you be successful, and sometimes you have to enjoy those things for yourself. Cindy laid it on me really thick one day, I remember. And she really taught me that judgment is absolutely necessary in order to be successful, and that I needed to put my big girl panties on. And she was absolutely right. I realized that I wasn't doing everything that I could, and I've applied that to my life and to my work, and now I'm passionate and I love what I do. And I graduated homeless, but I graduated nonetheless. Every ounce of pride that I thought I lost, I had actually gained tenfold. The first step is always the hardest. And just walk with purpose. Don't give up.
Hi, I'm Cindy. Good afternoon. Today we're going to talk about mental health and how our students are affected on a daily basis. How many students have you met that can relate to Sam? Sam was my biggest challenge. She was my first challenge. How many students have you met with mental health issues that you didn't even know they had mental health issues, but they do? Today we're going to talk about, first we're going to go through our statistics. I want to get those out of the way. Those aren't what we're here for. We're here to figure out how we are going to help our students cope with all these statistics, how we're going to help our students cope with getting through all the stress and get through this journey that they have to call education. Suicide. Each year, approximately 24,000 college students attempt suicide. 1,100 succeed in their attempt, making suicide the second leading death among our college students. 1,100. It doesn't seem like a lot. 1,100 of our kids, our nieces, our nephews, our brothers, our sisters. I teach higher education. And I've met a lot of you guys that are younger, lower education, K through 12, since I've been here. And I was reading an article the other day, and it was about a 7-year-old little boy who had been bullied. And I had researched a lot over college and higher education. I didn't really research a lot, elementary school. And I was reading a article about a 7-year-old little boy who had been bullied, and he had committed suicide with his favorite hoodie. He hung himself. That is crazy to me. Mental health doesn't pick a grade. It doesn't pick an age. 1 in 4 adult students have personally thought about suicide. 98% of students think suicide can be noticed. That means 2% think that you can't notice it. 60% of students asked in a national survey stated they might have a mental health issue. 60%. According to a national survey, 51% believe that mental health is more important in our current health system. Okay, so that means that less than half think that our health system doesn't think it's that important. 78% of Americans think mental health and physical health are equally important. I'm kind of just going through the statistics pretty quick so that we can get to the stuff where we can help our students get through this stuff and statistics. 4 out of 5 college students who consider or attempt suicide have shown clear warning signs prior to their attempts. Here are some things to look out for. A lot of these can happen mostly in older high school, some junior high, more higher education, ignoring classwork or skipping classes. I've had a couple of students who their education, they will not turn in their work, and they're straight A students, and then all of a sudden they just quit turning in stuff. They withdraw from their social butterflies, and then all of a sudden you don't see them with any of their friends, or you don't see them with anybody. All of a sudden they're dragging in by themselves. They're not spending all the time at lunch they don't go to lunch with all their friends all the time. They're giving away possessions, a teddy bear, a Pokemon card. They're talking about suicide. It may just come up in conversation, but it's in conversation. They're doing risky, self-destructive stuff. Sometimes they just do things that out of the ordinary. They'll start ramping their bikes off of really big ramps and that kind of stuff. That's just not normal. Increasing the use of drugs and alcohol. Somebody that never did drink, never did do drugs, all of a sudden now that's just a part of them. Now, as professional educators and mentors, here's where we get into the part where this is where we're going to help our students to cope with how to deal with the stressors of everyday life and the journey of their education. to create an activity or an assignment, okay? To create an activity or an assignment, we're going to, my favorite thing is journaling. How do I go back? My favorite thing is journaling. You can ask a consistent question daily. Make mental health a course topic. Or you can do a weekly self-care project. I do all of these. Do all 4 of these. Journaling is my favorite. Every day after the last 10 minutes of class, like I said, we do I'm higher education, VOTEC. I teach a cosmetology, a nail tech class. And every day they have a journal. I make their journals before they even come to my class as soon as I know they've enrolled. And in the beginning of this journal, I write these questions down. What do you learn today? What did you feel you needed practice on? What is your rose of the day? What is your thorn of the day? And tell me how I can make tomorrow better. Okay? What did you learn today? How many times, I heard it in a panel earlier this week. How many times have you asked a student, what did you learn today, dear? I don't know. I don't know how many times I've heard that. Well, now they have to tell me, what did they learn today? I want a specific, what did you learn from me today? What do you feel you need practice on? I'm a nail tech instructor. What do you need practice on? It doesn't matter if it's English, math, science, it doesn't matter. What do you need help with? What did you not get today? What's your rose of the day? What did you like from today? What is your thorn from today? What did you not like from today? I've gotten stuff from, I loved nail art class. I did not like the 3D nail art. And tell me how I can help you tomorrow. I've gotten stuff, I just need a one-on-one tomorrow. But then I've gotten stuff that says, I just need you to talk to me tomorrow. It's a personal reason. Doesn't have anything to do with school. It's just a personal thing. Okay, if that's what you need. And that's what that journal's there for. If they need me, I'm there. I'm not their friend, I'm their mentor. And if they need me, they know they can trust that they can talk to me. Those journals are personal journals. Nobody reads them but me. And they turn those journals in before they walk out my door. I read them, I grade them. They pick them up the next day when they walk in the door. They fill them out before they leave. They have 10 minutes to do their assignment. A daily question. This is my favorite. One of my colleagues, she does this every day before she leaves class, and she just yells this out. Nobody writes it down. She yells this out every day to each one of her students as they're walking off the floor. And she says, what are you going to do? What are you going to change? And how are you going to better yourself? Nobody writes it down. They tell her that as they walk out the door. And I love it. And I had to call her because I couldn't exactly remember the second question. So I had to call her and I asked her. And all her students, some of them, they just automatically tell her this answer. They're like, you didn't ask me, Miss Megan. But they love this, and I love the last one. How are you going to better yourself? It doesn't matter how you're going to better yourself, just as long as you know that you're going to try to better yourself some way, shape, or form. Try Try helping find your students a creative way to complete their course requirements. I do a lot of projects. I teach anatomy, I teach physiology, I teach chemistry. And even though I teach higher ed, who says it can't be fun? My favorite projects in anatomy and physiology are the systems, when I teach the systems. So when I teach the systems, I do like the endocrine system, the skeletal system, and my students get to pick a system. And even though they're in their 20s and 30s, they love this project. The skeletal system, one time, I had a student, she dipped and made bones out of pretzels. And it was on a big, huge poster board, and that's what she brought me, was dipped pretzels in white chocolate, and it was the skeletal system. I've had the nervous system done. She was a baker, and she made a brain out of a cake mix, and she color-coded with icing. And then she labeled everything. Oh, it was so good. We ate it afterwards. I've had the nervous system one time they did with Twizzlers, and it was a poster about this tall, and she literally labeled the entire nervous system from the brain all the way down with Twizzlers. It was so neat. I really wish I would have thought about putting the pictures, because I took pictures of all of this. And these are 20 and 30, 40-year-old people, students. And they love these projects because just because they're not children doesn't mean they don't like fun projects. They like to do fun projects. And believe it or not, their children helped with their projects. They love them. They look forward to their anatomy and physiology projects, and that is the hardest class that we have. And they're peer teaching when they do these things, because then they have to get up and do a 500-word presentation, and then they get to teach each other, and believe it or not, they ace this class. Students need to trust you to talk to you. You don't have to be their friend. You are their mentor and their instructor. That's what you're there for. That's who we are. Check in with them. No call, no shows. Grades are slipping. Attitude changes. Attendance is slipping. Just because. If my student doesn't show up for class, you better bet I'm gonna call. I wanna know why. Why are you not here? Just like Sam said, she called me that night and she said, Miss Cindy, I don't wanna get out of bed. I don't feel like coming to class. I just can't. I said, Sam, you need to put your big girl panties on. You need to get to class. I don't want to hear your excuses. That girl had a 4.0, perfect attendance, and she graduated. And she went through all of that and lived 2.5 hours away from school. So don't give me excuses. I put in for 2 leave of absences when I was in school. I know I went through all that. And there were times when I didn't want to get out of bed. I mean, how many of you guys went through trials and tribulations when you were in school? You know, I mean, there were so many times that I didn't want to get out of bed and go to school, but we did, and look where we're at now. Bring out your personal experiences. If that's what your student needs, give it to them. use those experiences to bring your student back. If you're losing somebody, use you to bring them back. I don't know how many times I've used my experiences to bring my student back home, back into my classroom. I guess I kind of got ahead of myself. How many of you thought about giving up at one time or another when you were in school? I know I did. I thought about it several times, but I didn't. Obviously, look where I'm at now. Never in a million years thought I'd be here, but I am. And I guarantee it's because of my students. Knowing that someday I was going to be the reason that my student had her own salon. One of my students is a Lisa Frank artist now. I have another student that she does all kinds of stuff in LA. She's a tattoo artist. I know she's not a nail tech, but she's a very well-known tattoo artist just because of the nail art class. I have a couple of them that are YouTube sensations because they're nail artists. So back to that, just to kind of go over the things that we went over. Create an activity or an assignment. Get creative. Check in on your students every once in a while. Use your personal experiences. Post some hotline numbers and campus contacts. I've got a couple of hotline numbers if you guys want to take pictures of them for suicide and that kind of help. Kids love to text. There's a text number in here too that you can put on the inside of their journal packets. Those are awareness numbers. There's a national hotline prevention lifeline. It's 1-800-271-8255. There's a crisis text line. You can text hello to 741-741. And then you've got your university counselors or your high school counselors or even your junior high and elementary counselors. Give all that information to your kiddos. That's what they need. They need somebody they can go to, especially, if you think that that's what they need. Or you can be the one they go to. Let them know that you can be trusted. Let them know that you can be the one that they can go to at any given time. I'm going to leave you guys with one thing, something that I write in every one of my graduation cards before we have a Q&A. There's only one end and one beginning. It's up to you to choose how you're going to get there. I put that in every single one of my graduation cards. It's your choice. You choose how you get there. Any questions?
Thank you so much for this very important topic. And this is just a comment. And I am a volunteer for the Sandy Hook Promise. You probably heard about that program. And they provide free training for teachers, for administrators. And here in the state of Texas, we just passed the legislation, thanks for their advocacy work, to allocate funding for, providing suicidal prevention and violent prevention at the school. And it is the part of the work for people like you that make that difference. But for those of you who don't know Sandy Hook Promise, you might want to check it out because it's a free resources. And the more school get, they have the program called Know the Sign, so that people, they have an automatic recording system and kids can just text to that number. And I was at a conference that they actually have a QR code. So basically the kid just need to scan the QR, it automatic connect to the automatic system to report what they observe, and that's really helpful for the mass shooting prevention. But thank you for your work.
You're welcome. Thank you so much. That is absolutely amazing. I'll have to get with you when we're done. Thank you guys so very much.